Welcome back to the terrace garden. I was not sure if I was going to do this, but I'm going to prune my 1-year-old fig trees. This is Oro Bianco. It was variegated in fruit and in the wood, which you can still kind of see. Right in this section there's a bit of a stripe. I wasn't sure if I was going to do this or not, but after talking to Bill Loris at Off the Beaten Path Nursery, he agreed it would be best to top this branch to have extra cuttings for the spring as sort of a redundancy. There's a good chance it would die back in the winter anyway, so rather than lose the genetic material, I'm going to make a copy. That way I have a backup. Another reason he mentioned was to begin getting some branching at the bottom so that it'll start to spread out rather than be a single leader. Being a 1-year-old tree, this is called a whip. It's simply a straight branch coming off the original propagated cutting. You can sort of see the original cutting still protruding. The tag that I use, an old vintage Dymo embosser. This is just a piece of aluminum that I have wired together. So I think what I'm going to do is count backwards from the top and see how many nodes I have. You want to have at least 3 per cutting. This is an ideal thickness. So maybe there's a cutting from there up. And then I can probably sneak one more. 1, 2, 3. Maybe there. So I think I'm going to go in between a couple of nodes down here. Just take that off. This should become 2 cuttings. And just to make sure I don't lose this, I'm going to tie it tighter around the branch. I'm even going to bury it to keep it from blowing away over the winter. Before I lose track of what I'm working with, I'm going to label my cuttings on the terminal end so that when it's planted I'll still have the name visible. I'm just using an oil-based marker from Sharpie. I don't know that I would recommend this exact one. They have a tendency to leak. Then it can actually become a little bit easier to use it as like an inkwell. So I'm just going to label that Oro. Yeah, not exactly working that well. This cutting is 14 inches in length, so to make sure I have more than enough nodes, I'm probably going to cut it right here and have that become the top of the second cutting, and then this will be the bottom of the next. So I have 1, 2, 3, and then all these on the end for leaves. So this will get buried. That might also, but at least that node will get buried. And then on the bottom end, there's a number of nodes down here, 1, 2, 3, so those can get buried. And then these 2 can stay above for leafing out. So I'm just going to take my pruners, and if you want to cut one end at an angle to try to remember, you can, but it's also helpful to note that your nodes are going to form above where a leaf grew. So this scar tissue is where a leaf grew out of the branch and then dropped when the tree went dormant. So you can always kind of get an idea of which direction is which, and if you forget, if you have a terminal end, that'll help you try to remember which way's up. So I'm going to go about there. That's pretty good. So I'll label this one again. That went a little easier on the second one. So now I have genetic copies of Oro Bianco, and I did take one of Teramo. I'm going to take a few more, but I didn't want to get them mixed up for the video. These will go into the fridge. I'm not going to clean them with anything. They're already pretty dry. They're not dripping. The tree is very, very dormant. You can see it's a little shiny here, but it's really not like, it's not even getting on me enough to be sticky or irritating. This branch is Teramo. I'm going to label before I lose track again. I'm going to label before I lose track. Sometimes you have to press on the end of the bit to get more ink to flow. Not my favorite paint marker. If you have a suggestion for a better oil-based paint marker, let me know. Okay, so Teramo, I'm going to cut this one. This is an 18-inch cutting. You could probably get 3 out of it were it not for the end. This is a bit soft. This softwood is not going to help me out. Actually, there's a fig that started to grow in our first year cutting. I could almost get 3 out of this. I'm going to play it safe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 nodes on it. On that end, cut here. 1, 2, 3. Probably 4. Yeah, I'm just going to play it safe. This is mainly an insurance policy. And if I end up with more Teramo that I know what to do with, it's not the worst thing. But I'm just going to cut that one here. And I'll label this one also. This was a brand new marker. Never used this one before until labeling. There we go. Rather than lose these to winter dieback, I'm just going to keep them in cold storage. And then this winter, probably around January 1st, I'll start propagating and see how they perform. Thanks for watching.